Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great and welcome to this new video where we're going to be talking about SwiftUI4 changes, and we're going to start basically this is the first video in the series of videos that we're going to be talking about new things that has been brought in to SwiftUI world by Apple in WWDC 2022. So today we're going to be looking at charts, and in particular we're going to be looking at bar charts. Okay, so before I start basically showing you what Apple has got for us, I want to make sure that we are using the right version of Xcode. So currently I'm on Xcode beta, and this is beta 14.0, which is very first beta that Apple came out during WWDC 2022. So I'm using this one, and if you're using some other version later on in future, that means basically you may encounter some API changes. Okay, so if the API changes are significant, I'll actually post an update, and otherwise we'll actually take it as we go. And once everything is finalized and Xcode 14 is released, I'm gonna post a new series on all the things that you can do, focusing on each area one by one. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and get started. So with the release of SwiftUI4, Apple actually made it super simple to add charts to your apps. Now with this simple charts framework, all you need to do is just import and use their simple API, and we get the powerful charts just out of the box. So there are a lot of components that are built that he can put together to build these charts, and they work just like any other SwiftUI view. Basically, it's something that's declarative and something that you can build one by stacking blocks of Legos, just like block of Legos on top of each other. So today we're going to be looking at bar chart in SwiftUI4, and we're going to actually check out how what are the things that you can do in bar chart. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So we want to start putting together a simple chart. We start with an import, and import is for charts. Now I'm going to move this up just for better reading, so it's like alphabetical imports, and then once you have this import ready, you get this new view called chart view. Okay, now chart view itself takes a few things, but if you notice right here, there is the depth key actually has moved up. Let me actually make sure the font is large. Okay, so depth key has moved up, and remaining of the space has been taken over by this invisible view. So chart itself is a view. As you can see, it's a complete view. It doesn't show anything. It's not quite useful yet, but it's a view. Okay, and it's actually a view that tries to take over as much space as possible. Now inside the chart, we specify graphical marks that represent data which needs to be plotted. Okay, so we will start by adding a single bar mark inside our chart. Now bar marks are basically bar marks represent data using bars, and bar marks take x and y values. So these are bar marks. Okay, and these values, these x and y values, these are plottable values. So plottable value is basically a type that conforms to plottable protocol, and that protocol basically make sure that the type, whatever is conformed to, make sure that it can be it can have a label, and it can plot data onto the chart. So basically draw a chart for us. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to plot daily workout session inside our chart example. So let's add a bar mark for Monday, and time spent on workout is going to be 20 minutes. So all we got to do is simply say dot value, and we're going to use a label. So label is what you want to call this particular axis. So x-axis in this case, and I'm going to call this day. That's what we're going to show on the x-axis, and for the value I want to say this is going to be for Monday. And for the y value, once again we have label. This is label for your y-axis, so I'm going to say minutes, and value I'm going to give 20. Okay, and as soon as we have given these values, I'm just going to simply quickly build so that gray hair goes away, and there we go. We have our data plotted, and as you can see, just by putting this bar mark, we get so much more. We get this grid that actually represents major marks within the graph, and we get ranges basically displaying how much value is this. So this is 20. If I change it to 15, notice that 15 as soon as actually updates. So let's see. All right, preview has paused, and I'm going to just quickly refresh this to make sure. So if you see, the range actually changes to match the maximum value. So the values that are displayed on the bar mark, the bars are actually scaled. So if I change this to 17, and notice we have a range incrementing fives. That means basically what we are getting at is we are displaying 17. Okay, and these ranges that we are actually seeing here, these are this area is called plot area right here in the background, the white area that you're seeing here. And these within this plot area, these values where they are reaching the smaller values, these are data points, and this is basically our grid, a grid line basically showing where our values are, where the ranges of those values within the plot area are. This is our x-axis, and this is our y-axis. Okay, now we need a little bit of padding because this chart is right snuck in around it, so we can see a little bit properly. So as you can see now, our chart is looking much better. We have some breathing room around the corners. Okay, so this is your basic chart. Now you have one value, and you can see basically it's taking over most of the space. So let's go ahead and resize this. So we're going to use our well-known frame modifier with height. So we're going to give it height about 400 points, and 400 points is going to basically resize this chart into 400 points. And as you can see, our chart is now limited, or sized to that to take over that 400. And because we are using VStack, it's actually everything, all the content is centered. Okay, so that's how you actually sort of resize your chart. Now if you want to add more values, one value is good, but if you want to add more, you can repeat these bar marks a few times. So I'm gonna say I need Tuesday and Wednesday, and there are differences, like how much time I spent on workout. So if you notice, as we are adding these values and as we are changing these values, our graph, our plot area is adjusting to that change. Our grid lines are basically increasing. So now there is a difference of 20 points. So it's grid lines are displayed with an increment of 20 points. Okay, and we have all the bars scaled according to to accommodate that change. Okay, So that's like, your chart is very smart. It knows what it's doing, and all you gotta do is provide the data points and it's gonna plot them for you. Okay, so this is great, but what else? Well, this is your good old bar chart, but what if you want to change it into a horizontal bar chart? Well, before we actually do that, we gotta learn two important concepts: nominal values and quantitative values, or nominal versus quantitative data. Okay, so notice how our chart view adjusts to make room to plot any new values that are added into onto the scene, onto the plot area. So these bars are scaled appropriately in vertical direction. Now these values right here, these are basically quantitative data, meaning these are the measure of values or counts that are expressed as number. That means number of minutes spent on workout in our example. Okay, nominal values are basically values that are the data that is used for label, like days of the week, right? So these are nominal values that are displayed, that display that actually can be used as a label. So if we want to basically swap these, and when we swap these, our chart is going to accommodate that change, and basically what it's going to do is it's going to give us a horizontal bar chart. Now let me show you what I'm talking about, swapping the value. So if I take the x value, which is our nominal value, and put it on y, and take y value and put it on x, okay, and if I do that for all of them, right now our state is invalid. That's why our I wouldn't be surprised if our Xcode crashes at this point. It has crashed on me a couple of times already. Okay, so as you can see, now we have our data flipped. So our quantitative value is being plotted on x-axis, and our nominal value is being plotted on y, and your chart actually understands that. So what it does is basically it flips the chart and makes it into a horizontal chart for you. Okay, so that's how you can basically build vertical versus horizontal bar charts. Now, so far what we have seen is basically creating data marks inside the chart view, but in production environment the data actually comes dynamically. We're not gonna have these static values. Well, sometimes you might, but most of the time in the production environment you're gonna have this data coming out dynamically. Okay, so what we're going to do is we will create a simple data structure that'll basically be used in our new chart, and we'll actually use that to iterate over all the values that are being presented inside our data structure. So I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to create a struct called workout. This is going to conform to identifiable protocol, and it's going to have a few things. So for example, UUID, which is going to be the ID to make sure that we conform to identifiable protocol. Other than that, we can actually get the day value, which is going to be the day, that's day of the week, and minutes spent on spent on the workout itself. Okay, now we're going to add some sample data. So I'm going to actually copy that data and put it in the extension for the workout. Okay, so it's simply displaying workout for Monday this much, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Okay, now when we have our data structure ready, all we gotta do is go inside here and put a for each. Okay, and for each takes a data binding, so we're gonna simply say workout dot workouts. This gives us a workout, and then we take our bar mark and we actually plot x and y, and I'm gonna actually flip this to put it in day, workout dot day, workout in minutes, and this is going to be workout dot minutes. Okay, so we can actually do that, and as you can see now, we have our data plotted onto the graph. Okay, so one quick thing, this for each, if this is the only thing inside your chart, that means it's optional. Okay, so what you can do is you can take everything out, and I'm gonna simply move this here, move this, paste it, format, and I'm going to show you what I did. Okay, so what I did is basically used chart, and chart actually takes data binding that it can iterate upon. It gives us access to that data, and it does basically exactly like it's been working. Essentially, it's been like, you know, working inside the for each. Now, to show you that this data has changed, I'm gonna shuffle the data, and you can see our data actually just changed to display different values, like, you know. Okay, so all right, so this is what we have, like, you know, for our chart data. Okay, now we have, like, you know, all these values plotted out, and that's how you can actually basically have your dynamic chart created. Now from here, it's very easy to flip these two again into a bar chart. Just change the values between X and Y, once again going back to nominal and quantitative data types, and you can actually sort of, like, you know, get yourself a horizontal bar. Okay, now so far we have seen like how to build a chart, but what about styling them? Okay, so you can change chart colors. Okay, and you can change colors by providing a foreground style. Okay, so foreground style can be applied on the bar mark itself. So let's go ahead and add a foreground style. Now there are two overloads for foreground style. These two are like, or this one is specifically designed for bar mark or for a mark. Okay, so we're gonna see that in a minute, but let's go ahead and give this a foreground color of pink. Okay, as you can see, our bar marks have been changed into sort of like a pink color. Okay, so that's how you can actually customize. Now you can use gradient color as well. So you can say linear gradient, for example, dot orange, dot green, start from leading and to trailing. Okay, so if we change that, there we go. We see, like, you know, our data being like, you know, our bar marks being displayed in a gradient style. Okay, but notice, like, you know, all these bars have same color. Now this is great, but what if you need a different color for each bar? Okay, that can be done with that other overload that we saw for the foreground style modifier, which actually takes a plottable value as a parameter. Okay, so I'm gonna just replace this with foreground style by, and notice that this takes a plottable value. Once again, value needs to be like plottable value conforms to plottable protocol, so we can use some of the data that we already have, and we can actually use that to distinguish like different bars from each other. So what it's going to do is SwiftUI is going to basically identify each bar individually, and it's going to start basically coloring them, and SwiftUI is going to help us out picking the colors that it think would make, like, you know, would make that bar look good. So it's going to be random colors. They're not going to be repeated. So let's go ahead and see what SwiftUI does for us. So I'm going to say day. Okay, and I want to recognize basically our style by day, and I'm going to say workout dot day is gonna be the value that we're gonna use. Now, as you can see, we have like, different colors. Now, before this, before applying the foreground style, we only had one color. So there was no need for any kind of legend that we needed to recognize what is what, right? But as soon as we apply this foreground style, foreground style by, now we have different color values. Now each color represent a different day. So for that reason, SwiftUI chart is smart enough to add legends for you. Okay, so blue represent Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and all the colors that are distributed. So like I said, SwiftUI actually picks these colors for you. Okay, this is great, but now we lost the ability to add colors of our own choice. So SwiftUI chart API, it does a great job picking the random colors, but if you want more control over the theme of the chart, now how can we do that? Well, for that we can take help of chart foreground style scale modifier. Okay, so it's pretty big name. So chart foreground scale modifier configures the foreground style scale for charts using its domain and range parameters, and we actually can use our own colors to color these bars. Okay, so what you gotta do is you gotta first specify that outside of the bar mark. So at the chart level, you apply this chart foreground style scale modifier. Okay, now it takes various different things, domain and type and stuff like that. So let's talk about this. So domain is basically the domain is possible data values that can be plotted as foreground style in the chart. So you can define the domain with a close range number or date values, for example 0 to 500, or some date value, and you can also pass an array of categorical values. In our case, we can actually supply our workout into a day of workouts into an array and use that as a domain. So that defines the domain, what needs to be colored. So the domain of the data values that need to be plotted are going to be in the domain. Now next comes is your range. So range is basically range of foreground styles that you want to apply to those domains that you just specified. So this guy right here, the range. So this is basically where we're going to specify our colors that we want to display. And type is basically a scale type that defines the way you want to scale the domain and the range. In the plotted values, default is nil, and we're going to leave it that way. Okay, so there's a lot being said, so let's go ahead and take a look at this in action. So what we're going to do is, for the domain, we can actually create a compact map. So I'm going to use our workout.workouts. Okay, and I'm gonna use compact map so we get actually non-nil values out. Okay, and this is gonna give us each workout. All right, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna return workout.day. So what we are doing here is we are saying the domain is going to be the array of all the days that are there inside this. So you can actually, for the domain, you can literally pass like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as an array, or you can actually take this and extract the value out from your data structure itself. Okay, I'm doing it for data structure because that's like more dynamic. Now next thing we need is basically the color that each of these days are going to be colored with, the color, the bar for each of these days are colored with. So I'm going to create a variable, or let constant mark color. basically bar mark color. Okay, and this is going to be of type an array of color. Okay, and we're gonna have like pink, purple, cyan, brown, orange, blue, and mint. Okay, so these are going to be the colors. Now all we need, this is a scaled range, so range can be like, you know, basically range can be this value. So we can simply say mark colors, mark color is, or mark colors is basically our range. Okay, and there you go, like Xcode crashed on us, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and rebuild it, excuse me, and I'm gonna refresh, and now what we have is like, you know, these colors are specified by us. So Monday is no longer blue color, it's pink, and next is purple, cyan, and then you have brown, you have orange, blue, and mint colors. And as you can see, our legends are basically marked with the same color dot. Okay, so once again, this is using the chart foreground style scale. You can actually specify the colors that you want your bars to have. Now it's very simple to have a gradient applied to these colors as well. Okay, so instead of using colors, we can say we want linear gradient, and this is going to be a an array of linear gradient. And if I use init with colors, and if I say okay, so if I say color is going to be pink and white, let's say, and leading and trailing. Okay, and I'm gonna repeat this 7 times, and then just gonna change the colors. So 4, 5, 6, and 7. So our basically bar can be printed. So this is basically how our view is looking like now, right now. Okay, and we're gonna change this to purple. I think we had cyan. Yeah, cyan. And then we had brown, so brown, orange, and blue, and mint. Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, there we go. Like all of them are colored now. Yeah, so as you can see, you can apply basically a gradient to this. Now I'm using white because it gives you it gives like a nice effect, but you can use any other color, like, you know, you can use green for example, and your that particular bar is gonna be displayed as green. So as you can see, like, you know, you can actually specify which color like, you know, or variation that you want to use with that particular index. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to white because that looks much nicer. Okay, so that's how you color your bars, or you actually specify specific colors for your bar. Okay, now let's talk about annotations. Okay, so marks can be decorated with annotations to show relevant information. Now these annotations in a SwiftUI view, meaning it's basically annotation is a SwiftUI view, meaning that it's on us how we would like to show the information which is relevant and pleasant to the user. Okay, so these are like, you know, annotations are basically just your good old SwiftUI views, and we will annotate our bars with a simple indigo color figure image with the help of annotation modifier, and we're gonna actually we're gonna take a position, we're gonna specify the position where we want to show that annotation. Okay, so for that, all we gotta do is right underneath the foreground style, we are going to say annotation, and as you can see, annotation actually takes the position. Now One new thing in Xcode 14 that's coming out is basically this these faded values. So all these values that are faded, that means that they have a default value assigned to them. Okay, so that means they're not required. If you look at the content, it's actually not faded. That means that's the only value that you got to provide. So if I hit enter right now, content is the only thing that's going to be filled. I'm going to hit one more time enter to create this trailing closure, but I want to go back and specify position property. So position. Okay, and I want to say, like, the position for this one is going to be trailing, because we have, like, these horizontal bars. So trailing is going to basically display the annotations right here on the right hand side. Okay, so I'm going to simply show an image, system name, and this is going to be a figure dot stand. Okay, so just a human figure, and foreground color is let's give it a indigo color. So as you can see, this is basically a SwiftUI view, and we are displaying essentially this annotation right here. Now this can be a value, right? This can be as complex as showing the value, which actually adds a little bit more information about it, but let's start simple, and then we're going to make it a little bit complex. Okay, I want to show you the positions. So if you do leading, it actually shows right there, like, in the beginning. If you change it to top, then it shows, like, at the top. You have one more value. I mean, you have like many, as you can see right here, like, there are a whole bunch of them, but the one actually that I found like very useful is overlay. It actually tries to fit in, or not tries, actually, it actually literally fits in, like, in the center of the view, that whatever annotation that you're using. So it'll actually just put it right on the top and inside the bar mark. Okay, all right, so I'm going to change it back to trailing. All right, trailing is where I wanted to show this. Now we can take this a step further, and we can build a custom view just for the annotation. Now for that, what we got to do is we got to move the code for colors out into its own struct in order for us to access it from other views. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to basically create a struct called constants. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to take this guy and move it out inside the constant, and we're going to make this static. Okay, that way, like, wherever we are using, we can use it as constants dot mark colors. Okay, and that should actually resolve our issue. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new view. So I'm going to create a struct annotation view. All right, and we're going to create our body, and basically what we need to do is we need to compute index of our workout. So we're going to say let idx is equal to workout dot workouts dot first index where, and we can say where id is equal to essentially the workout.id, so the workout that's being passed to us. All right, and if this is like nil, then we can actually just use the first index, which is 0. Okay, now once we have this index, what we're gonna do is we're gonna return a vstack. All right, and we're gonna say spacing is gonna be 0 for this guy, and we're gonna have a text which is going to be displaying workout dot minutes dot formatted. Okay, mins, and then an image system name figure dot stand. Okay, we're gonna say for this whole thing we want to specify the font to be caption, and for the foreground style we want to take the constants and we want to reach mark colors, and we're going to use the index to get that foreground style for that particular bar out. Okay, and we're going to paint our text and the image, basically our annotation, with the same gradient color. Okay, so with that change, what we're going to do is we're going to go to annotation, and we are going to simply change this into annotation view, which takes the workout. So we're gonna pass the workout that we have, and there we have it. We have our data listed out here, and as you can see, like, you know, this is much more pleasant. It shows the value. I mean, I know, like, you know, the white color gradient is not working out that great for this, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna be too much stuck on that. User can understand what it is, and it's just demo. Okay, moving on. Basically this shows, like, you know, the information, like the value. So if you look at the grid, you can tell the value lies somewhere between 20 and 40, and it's more close to, like, you know, 40, so it could be 30, but right now we can see it's like 32 minutes, 45 minutes, 56 minutes, 15, 65, 8, 10. So what we're giving our user is much more information about their workout. Now this probably is gonna look better inside the overlay, probably not. Okay, as you can see, it tries to fit in, and I'm gonna actually try something really quickly. Let's change it to edge stack. And as you can see, it's a nice subtle effect, but again, I don't want to do this, so I'm gonna actually go back to the way it was, which was trailing, and there we have it. Okay, so actually, you know what, this is actually looking better than what I had before. Right, so I'm going to leave it at this. So yeah, so you have, like, you know, annotations working for you, and with that we have reached the end of this video. Okay, now I want to quickly pitch in that, like, if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel. The code that is here, I'm gonna leave it inside our Patreon channel, so our Patreon website, where you can actually find the code, and you can support our channel there as well. Also check out www.devtechie.com, because they have we have, like, you know, a lot of stuff over there that can actually help you with your SwiftUI journey. Okay, with that, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and I will see you guys in another video where we're gonna be exploring a little bit more about what's new in SwiftUI4. Thank you.